gone off the beaten path a little bit. Forgive me in advance for the frigid weather. I guess frigid to some of us, but we couldn't pass on an opportunity to take advantage of a majestic skyline like that. And the skyline gets a little bit more impressive as we move closer to the holidays, and we obviously are on the cusp of Thanksgiving and Black Friday. We wanted to get together today, not from a CMP perspective, but more from a public safety perspective, to talk about dueling, or not dueling, similar roles, I guess, that we all have in public safety. We've got Charlotte Fire Department here. We've got Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department here, and each one of those departments have some relevant information that they'd like to pass along to community members through Thanksgiving and Black Friday. In just, several hours, we're going to have tens of thousands of people descend on our center city with our Thanksgiving Day Parade. A lot of pomp, circumstance, and pageantry attached to that event, as a lot of you here recognize, covering it through the years. I want to introduce Major Gerald Smith, get out in front of that somewhat to talk about what those preparations look like, what public safety looks like, and what community members need to know if they intend on participating or acting as spectators for this year's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Major Smith.
Good morning. Like Rob said, I'm Major Gerald Smith with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. I am the major of the Central Service Area, which includes the Uptown. And tomorrow, Uptown will be the host of the annual Thanksgiving Day Parade. We're expecting over 100,000 people for this event, which makes it one of the larger events that we have. We've already started to implement our plans to increase safety and security in the Uptown. Some of our communities may have already experienced some delays and some road blockages in the Uptown. Communities can expect those road blockages to increase as we get closer to the event. The entire route should be closed off by 7:30 tomorrow morning. The event begins at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Parade goers can expect to see approximately 70 organizations, groups, and floats in the parade. In addition to that, they can expect to see bike patrol officers, walking beat officers, officers at every intersection with vehicle mitigation to help prevent unauthorized vehicles from getting on the parade route. They can expect to see officers with open carry rifles to increase security. They can expect to see first responders up and down the parade route altogether. And we would say that if you see something, say something, get the attention of those first responders so that we can do something. In addition, something that we're excited about this year is the addition of the Charlotte Center City Ambassador Program, which is kicked off, and this is their first, I think, major event for Uptown. And parade goers can see, or will see, these ambassadors along the parade route, about 10 of them who are there to help assist with the parade route. Commuters can also expect that they can have some blockages and have to circumvent traffic along Tryon Street even after the event is over. I believe around Stonewall and MLK there will be road blockages there as crews take down the infrastructure for the event. So at this time I don't have any questions that anyone may have about safety and security.
We can also make the major available along with everyone else afterwards if you've got a couple of minutes to stay behind, Major.
Sure.
Major, what issues do you intend to run into, like, for example, last year or the year before, for things?
Traffic. Traffic seems to be the number one. 100,000 people coming into the Uptown for an event that's scheduled to last 2, maybe 3 hours. That's a lot of people coming in at one time in a very small area. I would encourage anyone to utilize the light rail that goes north and south now, please. That would help with some mitigating of traffic as well as any kind of parking issues that may come up.
Major, is there any one issue that keeps you up at night when you're planning for a big event like this?
I think that any police official across the country will tell you it's the unforeseen, the unknown. We do as much as we can to plan and to mitigate any foreseeable problems, such as traffic, such as a large number of people. But it's that unknown that you just don't know about. And we do what we can to make sure that we have the proper resources to respond to those things that just we don't know could happen.
I don't know if you could provide specific staffing for tomorrow, but if you can, great. If you can't, could you say how it compares to previous years?
I think it's right where it's been for previous years, and our staffing, we believe, is adequate for this event. Okay. Any other questions? Everybody have a great holiday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. little technical work that we're doing there. Welcome to the party, WCNC. How's everybody? Black Friday, just a day after tomorrow. We traditionally see a lot of traffic, both vehicle traffic, pedestrian traffic in and around major shopping centers. I want to introduce Captain Ryan Kendall. He's one of our newer young captains, took over the North Division in July, and North Division involves the North Lake Mall. Ryan is going to talk about Black Friday efforts, preparation, staffing, traffic, all of the other situations that kind of develop and accompany Black Friday. And he's not just speaking for North Lake, he's speaking for major shopping areas that we fall under our jurisdiction, whether it's the Galleria, whether it's South Park Mall. So I really think it's important to get Ryan up here to talk a little bit about what that strategy looks like and pass along some important information to community members. Captain Ryan Kendall.
Good morning. As Rob said, Captain Ryan Kendall, North Division here at CMPD. Just want to kind of give you a brief overview of what our holiday staffing will look like. In lieu of Black Friday, everybody's familiar with Black Friday. It brings in the crowds, everybody trying to grab the latest deal, the greatest things on sale, and some of the problems that kind of come along with that. Each division will be utilizing holiday overtime resources to add officers to these major shopping venues, in addition to our normal staffing levels. So you will see additional officers in marked cars. You might see them on foot, on motorcycles, bicycles. There might even be some plainclothes officers out in some of these divisions. And the great thing about the holiday funding that we've received is it will not diminish our normal staffing levels in the division. So we can provide this extra security for these families coming out to shop without diminishing our normal 911 response citywide. Some kind of crime prevention tips. I would also like to talk about things that the public can do to help themselves, to help us. As you know, with crowds, there also comes, that criminal element, the opportunity to take advantage of people that are out trying to enjoy the day with their families. There's always that criminal element that wants to get in there and try and benefit from that, profit from that. As Major Smith said, if you see something, say something. Please be aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't look right to you, please call 911. Flag down an officer, let us know. We would always rather check on something and it be nothing than you not call. So please let us know if you see something that just doesn't look right to you. Please try not to leave your packages unattended while you're shopping. Set your bag down. You're looking at things on the rack. Things tend to grow legs and walk off. You have to go back to your car. I know, the holidays are hectic. Everybody's trying to get in and get out. Take a few extra minutes to make sure you're securing your packages in your trunk. You're not leaving things out in plain view that are inviting people to come take them. Lock your cars. Please lock your cars. Please take your keys with you. We've seen a spike in auto thefts around the city this year, and a lot of that is stemming from people leaving their keys in their cars. Take a few extra seconds to make a checklist in your head, kind of double check yourself, securing all your items, keeping valuables out of sight, and securing your vehicle. And please plan ahead for crowds. Major Smith talked about some of the traffic at Uptown around our major shopping venues. Similar issues is traffic. Please be patient. Plan a few extra minutes travel time. Plan for crowds in the malls. It's a holiday time, a time to be joyous and spend time with your family. So please just go into these environments with that expectation that you're going to have to wait a few more minutes. There's going to be a lot of people around. Even with the advent of online shopping and Black Friday has diminished a little bit, it's still a large day for us to, large crowds, large groups for us to try and mitigate. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
You say you were beefing up more officers now?
Yes, ma'am. We will have additional officers at all, citywide, at all the shopping venues, in addition to our normal staffing and off-duty officers that already work at some of these retail locations that are hired by the retailers.
Anybody else for Captain Kendall? We'll have him hang back too for anyone with specific questions if we want to. I appreciate you, Captain. You know, it's not just a police situation. You know, it's a public safety kind of endeavor, a shared effort, no doubt. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't also acknowledge the work that Charlotte Fire does. Yeah, let me preface this whole thing by saying I know a lot of you probably working through the holidays. That's not exclusive to your profession. A lot of public safety personnel are going to be right there along with you, shoulder to shoulder this weekend, missing time with their families. So all working for the greater good for our community, and that shouldn't be lost on any of us. We appreciate what you guys do. Hopefully the community appreciates what these men and women do with public safety. Fire, Charlotte Fire. Lee Kish, an educator with Charlotte Fire. I want to bring her up to talk about how they fit into the equation, some of the calls for service that they see through the holidays, and more importantly, what the community can do to keep themselves safe through the holiday season. Lee.
Good morning. As Rob said, my name is Lee Kish, Fire and Life Safety Educator with the Charlotte Fire Department. The leading cause of fires on any day of the year is unattended cooking. However, your odds increase greatly on the holidays, and we have more home fires on Thanksgiving than on any other holiday during the year. The odds of a home fire actually is 3 times more on Thanksgiving. It's a nearly 250% increase over the daily average of all home fires, and that's per the National Fire Prevention Association. We would encourage everyone to please stay in their kitchen while they're cooking. That's the biggest thing. Don't leave food unattended once it is cooking. Also, be aware, especially if you have children in your home who may not live there, you may not have child-proofed your home. Keep 3 feet around your stove where the children cannot get near the stove, and keep sharp objects such as knives out of their reach. Keep children safe. If you're going to burn candles, put them in something larger than the candle itself. That way, should it fall over, it should extinguish itself versus catching the tablecloth or the curtains or something else on fire. And don't ever leave the home or even the room while you're burning candles. As far as holidays go in general, we'll start to decorate for the next holiday very soon. Be mindful of the types of cords you use. Use outdoor cords outdoors. Don't use the really thin, skinny extension cords if you can help it. And again, candles, keep them in something bigger than the candle. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. She, along with everyone else, will be available afterwards. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was 7 kitchen-related fatal fires this year compared to 1 all of last year. So just to underscore how big of a situation and potentially deadly kind of endeavor this is with this unattended cooking. I think the numbers really bear that out, just how prevalent it is and how potentially dangerous and deadly it could be. Captain Jackie Gilmore, a lot of you know him from the Office of Public Affairs with Charlotte Fire, actually wants to kind of finish on a more positive note today, and a partnership that they've got working on a campaign to really take care of some of the more needy members of our community. And I'm not going to steal too much of his thunder. I want him to talk about that if we could.
Good morning. Again, I just want to talk about some of the great things. Another great thing that the Charlotte Fire Department is doing in the community. In the spirit of the City of Charlotte's 250th birthday, the Charlotte Fire Department has partnered with Housing and Neighborhood Services, and this year we're going to collect 250 new or gently used coats for all ages. These coats will be distributed to predetermined Charlotte-Mecklenburg school locations as well as crisis assistance ministries. The program started back on November 19th, and it's going to run through December 10th. These coats can be dropped off at any of the 42 Charlotte Fire Department fire stations, as well as the neighborhood service code enforcement located at 600 East Trade Street. We can't do this without the community. We know we set a goal for 250, but we want to do more than that. So again, help Charlotte Fire Department with collecting used coats for the community, and thank you for braving this weather. I know it's getting colder and colder, so we need to get these coats out here. So please help the Charlotte Fire Department. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kat. So, also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention anyone interested in advancing any one-on-one stories, deeper stories on Black Friday, the holidays, crime prevention. We've got Johnny Frisk there in the back. Officer Frisk will be more than happy to facilitate that and speak with any of you one-on-one if you want to advance those stories and go a little bit deeper on the crime prevention angle. Before we part company for Thanksgiving, I know Becker is just chomping at the bit. Mark Becker, please.
Bring it back down. But yesterday, last night, shooting up in the University Division. What can you tell us about that one? A young man shot outside his apartment.
Yeah, not a lot of information. I do know that detectives were able to determine that this wasn't random. There seems to be some kind of association between the victim and the perpetrator. What can I say? I mean, 22-year-old guy, a couple of days before Thanksgiving. I'm sure is just another one of our senseless kind of incidents that have occurred. Our 50th homicide so far this year to date. That's down from 79 this time last year. But 50 too many, and we just keep beating this drum. And the chief has said it. We've said it. There's got to be a better way of de-escalating these situations and minimizing the opportunity for things like this to happen, because it's just it's senseless. It's heartbreaking, and here you have a family going into Thanksgiving without a 22-year-old young man. It's just it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Sounds like you have at least a person's interest. Anybody been arrested?
Yeah, nobody's been. We don't have any active warrants on anyone yet. When we do, and there is some resolution, obviously, that'll be communicated through the Public Affairs Office. What we'd encourage the community to do is call with any information that they have concerning this incident. They may think it's just small potatoes, not important. Let our detectives run that down. You're not being a burden. There's up to a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest in this case, and help at least bring some resolution to this family, who I'm sure is having a pretty tough time this morning.
Rob, the situation over at the Park Road Shopping Center, you guys put out that surveillance.
Yeah.
Any leads on that?
No, I know we've gotten some calls, but I don't think that anything has materialized in the way of identifying a person that we've been able to sign warrants on. I'd encourage our partners in the media, if they could, to keep pushing those photos that were distributed earlier in the week. I think that the lieutenant, she hit it right on the head. This is a dangerous guy. 2 incidents that we can connect him to. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured during either one of those incidents. But, who's to say that this thing doesn't escalate the longer this person stays out there in our community? We need to get our hands on this guy. We need to get this guy in custody before he victimizes another member of our community. So please, continue pushing those pictures. Up to $1,000 reward for anyone with information that leads to an arrest in this case. And those pictures, the resolution's pretty vivid. I got to think that somebody out there knows who this fella is, and we need to hear from them.
And safety out there. It's Black Friday. People being out there, shopping. Any extra security out there?
Well, I think Captain Kendall and Major Smith really kind of captured that, and there's going to be more than appropriate staffing to ensure that the holiday and Black Friday are safe events. But we've got a really big force multiplier out there that we can't ignore, and that's our community, right? They have so much more power in keeping themselves safe than what they probably know. As much as we try to augment security and be everywhere at once, that's not realistic. But you sure as heck can lock your car door. You sure can take those those items, those expensive items at a plain sight. If you see something that just doesn't look or sound right, pick up the phone and call 911. They're never too busy to come out and investigate something like that. And you'd be awfully surprised just how many people were taken into custody who were breaking into cars, who were breaking into homes, who were stealing packages because a community member was community-driven enough to pick up the phone and just say something. It's no burden. Let them run it down and determine if there's anything to it.
Hey, Rob, I don't know if you're able to, or the Major or anyone else, to talk about the Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, on the roadways. In the past, it used to be one of the most deadly days, deadly nights, in terms of drunk driving, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know, is that something that's changed? Is that information that's circulated?
I don't know. I can't quantify enough to say that it's one of the most deadly. times to travel. I can say it's one of the most busy times to travel, and that's not me. That's AAA saying that. That's the that's the agencies that monitor that type of activity. I will say traditionally during the holidays we do see an uptick in people who are operating their vehicles under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I'm not going to get into hard numbers, speak about means and methods, but you could be rest assured that there's going to be an appropriate number of police officers on the streets. I don't want to speak for the Highway Patrol. I know that they're beefing it up too to ensure that our roads remain safe. There with so many options out there these days with ride-sharing programs, taxis, and calling a friend. It makes very little sense for somebody to get behind the wheel after drinking. A lot of responsibility has to come into play here. But if that isn't the order of the day, well, then on the back end we'll have enforcement, and no one is shy about putting somebody in handcuffs and taking them to jail if they're drinking and driving. All right, guys, happy Thanksgiving. We're starting to thaw out a little bit now. We're hitting our rhythm, but we appreciate it. We hope everyone has a happy one, a safe one, and we'll see you next go around.